Hi, greetings, everyone. My name is Dina Levitz. I am a writer. I am a traveler. I teach and practice yoga and mindfulness for kids, for grown-ups. And I'm also one of the members of the volunteer team for SOULFest, which is, an amazing free festival that's going to be back live and in person in New York City on October 1st. And we're obviously very excited. So in anticipation of that, I am talking with some of our amazing presenters who are going to be leading classes at SOULFest. And I had the privilege today of speaking with Ceasar. Oh yeah, Ceasar F. Barajas. So I'm so excited to talk with you, Ceasar. I asked Ceasar in advance if he could sort of prepare a little intro of the many things that he does. And I asked him to just sort of explain who he is in a sentence or two. And here's what he gave us. Yeah, Ceasar F. Barajas is an international wellness mentor, mental health advocate, military veteran, outspoken activist, and chocolate chip cookie aficionado. Yes, so I love
all
it.
Truths.
All true. I love it.
Yes.
So before we get to kind of my real questions, I got to ask something very important that I'm dying to know. Chocolate chip cookies. Are you a crispy cookie, more of a soft, melty kind of cookie? What's the feeling?
Love it. And I love that this is the first question. And before I answer that lovingly, I want to acknowledge that the lands that we're currently on, I'm currently in New York City. I know Dina is as well.
Yes.
And so these are the original homes of the indigenous tribes of the Lenape, of the Wappinger, the Shag-Tekoke. And so I would be remiss if I didn't mention the lands and the original inhabitants. And as far as cookies go, my spot, City Cakes. 18th Avenue, go check out my man Mark and Ruben. Make sure you tell them Ceasar sent you half-pound cookies. They're in that soft space. So like the kind that if you break them apart,
they melt. Okay. All right. I might have to get a cookie after we talk. Love it. Okay. Well, I'm so happy to talk to you, Ceasar. You do so many things. You teach classes large and small, yoga, meditation, on and on and on. My first question, though, let's start at the beginning. How is it that you got started in yoga and meditation? Is there sort of a transformative, formulative kind of first experience or memory kind of those disciplines?
Absolutely. The idea of yoga came about because I had suffered a back injury. So I have been a professional performer for 30 plus years. I started as a ballerina, a modern company dancer, and I was on a tour 20 plus years ago, and my spine wasn't shifting and I wasn't as strong as I thought. And so the rehab given to me was a strict yoga and Pilates. So for 20 plus years, I've been using it to strengthen my body, but it wasn't until I met the wonderful and fine folks over at the Veterans Yoga Project in 2015. So shout out to all of my VYP crew. I'm now one of their master teachers and national ambassadors. And it wasn't until their mindful resiliency for trauma recovery, mindful resiliency for compassion fatigue training, that I finally get to understand the spiritual, the soulful, the meditative, the mental aspects and positive benefits of yoga. So it's been a 20 plus year journey, and the last 7 years specifically of teaching trauma-informed, healing-centered yoga.
Yeah, that's lovely. Now let's fast forward a little bit to now, as you said, many years later into, your own practice and teaching. What is it that kind of lights you up and keeps it as a passion, especially this idea of, I love the term mindful resiliency.
The idea right now of really just being on a soapbox, because I'm on one, and highlighting that yoga is for everyone. It is, especially in the United States, it's female centered. And so we're trying to remove any of the gender confirmations. We're trying to make it gender non-conforming. We're trying to understand that you can be a straight male, military veteran, utilize yoga and meditation as a way to help mental health struggles. I use it daily, Dina. I myself suffer from anxiety and depression and post-traumatic stress injuries. And it wasn't until I used and implemented the daily practice that I finally started to get a foothold. And that doesn't mean that I'm not without my counseling or my therapy or my men's group supports, but it's really shifting the idea that yoga is not women in yoga pants.
Yep.
Aloe, Lululemon. Shout out to Aloe and Lululemon. Like, I love it. But like the
Yeah.
idea of what yoga is in its thousands of years old practice and what it's based in. And everyone thinks I'm not flexible, I can't do it, I'm not strong enough. And it has nothing to do with that. That's one aspect. You already were.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. Yeah.
If we're sitting here talking about this, like as we take a deep breath together and we let it out, that's the pranayama.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're starting the decompression and the calming effect. So it's just getting people to understand yoga in its simplicity is highly beneficial.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, Ceasar, you're very inspiring yourself, your backstory, just, your motivations. Who is inspiring you right now, or what is inspiring you?
Well, I have to shout out the idea of even becoming a yoga teacher came about because I was unofficially teaching it for 15 plus years to my dancers, because I was teaching dance workshops all over the world. So what yoga I did know I would go in and implement, but I have to honestly shout out to Karen and Sean Conley, and they are my yoga teacher mentors, and they own amazing yoga studios in Pittsburgh, PA. So if you're in the Pittsburgh, PA area, go shout out amazing yoga. But I follow them because they gave me yoga in its simplicity. And here I am 500 plus hours later, and I've had a number of teachers. So I am a fusion of everybody. So my dear friend, Robert Sternum, the famed yoga photographer, Dan Nevins is another military veteran, multiple people throughout my life. Dr. Dan Libby, who's the VYP founder and creator, who decided for his thesis and doctoral to present the benefits and the healing benefits of yoga, especially with veterans in regards to their post-traumatic stress injuries. So I've had a number of people, but I'm a walking fusion of so many wonderful people I've had the pleasure of crossing paths with. Yeah,
I love that. We bring, all these influences, the teachings that we have, to our students. So absolutely. So you mentioned, Ceasar, yoga and meditation, breath work, all of this, it's a daily practice for you. Is there, whether it's in the morning or in the evening, a specific kind of ritual or practice that's really essential to you that you can kind of maybe show or tell people about?
Here it is in its simplest form. I meditate probably 30 times a day. Wait, what? How? That one breath. Once again, if you're listening and you're within the sound of our voices here, can you just take a deep breath in? And as you let the air out, control the exhale. That one conscious controlled breath is starting the meditative approach to decompression, to healing. It's what's activating the body's parasympathetic nervous system. I didn't mention earlier, but I'm also an adjunct professor at Columbia University. I'm on the staff at Manhattan College in the Bronx. And so I'm teaching meditation and mindfulness. So with that said, every time I look at my phone, and if you can see the stickers, I take one breath. There's also a sticker on my water bottle. There's a sticker in my wallet. Every time I see the sticker, I take one conscious controlled breath. So in that aspect, I'm meditating all day. And the idea that meditation has to be you sitting in lotus pose on a mountaintop, stroking your beard, counting the clouds. I meditate on the express from 125th to 59th, because I know I have 6.5 minutes and I lean against the train door and I shut my eyes or I keep them open. It's all about finding a connection to your conscious breath. So with that said, I love hearing people tell me they don't have enough time. Great. You brush your teeth in the morning? Great. Take 3 deep breaths. That's meditation. Great. You got 3 kids to take care of and get ready for school? Amazing. As you're getting ready for their lunches or laying out their clothes, just notice the texture, notice the colors. Meditation can happen anywhere at any time.
Yes, love it. Plus, some of us don't have beards, so we can't just sit up on the mountaintop and do it. So there's
some of us don't have the hair to run
that too. I love it. I love it. So, obviously you're teaching in so many different contexts and so many different places. We're so delighted that you're going to be part of SOULFest So give us a sense. I know that there's all this variety, but if there's commonalities of what somebody would experience if they're coming to a class or a workshop or something that's taught by you, are there some common adjectives or a certain vibe that you're sort of cultivating? What would it be like?
I also love this question. Dina, these questions are on point. Thank you.
Thank you. I try.
I cater yoga to every body, every space, BODY. So just because we suggest shoulders over wrist doesn't mean that that's possible for you.
Yeah.
So please know that coming to my class, it's going to be led with, first and foremost, a realness and a rawness, if you haven't already, taken a gander from my interview. But I lead with compassion and kindness, ultimately love and inclusivity. So I don't care who you are or where you were from. And somebody at some point took me in and said, hey, we're going to have you come teach this or guide this. And I've taught for corporations all over the world. I mean, who would have thought that this first generation Mexican kid, son to Mexican immigrant parents, would be on staff at Columbia University? So the idea that yoga is welcoming. So please expect to be welcomed with loving arms, regardless of gender, whatever your preferred pronoun, sexual orientation, come through. And we get to do it in New York City and in person.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
What could be better? Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely. Love it. Welcoming. Yeah. Yeah. So I've been asking everybody about, obviously we've had, there's not even a word to come up with the last couple of years, how it's been challenging, pandemic, racial justice, elections, just so much has been going on in the world. For you, and particularly the teaching that you're doing, being a professor, all of your experience, what have you learned about yourself?
That it's okay to not be okay. That I'm navigating a world I didn't ask for. So how do I become a beacon of support and light and love for those whose voices are voiceless? And so the activist in me is a staunch supporter of getting rid of what is deemed too deep of a problem. No, it has to start with a collective group of people. It has to start with, again, I've said it already, continuing to be a voice for the voiceless. The last 2 years weren't easy. I won't even get into details.
Yeah.
But the last 45 years of my life haven't been easy. So I put things into perspective in a very different way now. And so at the top, before we even started recording, you were like, yo, how are you? And I was like, loaded question, because I don't answer to that anymore. What I'd rather check in with is, yo, how's your heart? How's your spirit today? And that's where I'm at right now. I would rather check in on the individual soul than get and no offense to you, like you didn't know, but like when people throw the how are you? It's like, I'm good. How are you? No, it's not a throwaway question. I'm genuinely asking, how's your heart? How's your spirit? How can it be supported? And so over the last couple of years, I've also shifted into men's group support. So not only on top of all the other certifications, I'm also certified in men's emotional leadership training facilitation. So I lead peer-to-peer support. So I'm also talking to the fellas. So those of you who identify as ladies, please know I'm a staunch feminist. I'm a reformed man. So I'm talking to the guys as well, because I'm trying to undo generational traumas, cultural traumas, societal traumas. So I have a lot of work to do, and I'm tired. In all honesty, you're the highlight of my day today. But I'm tired.
Oh, I hear you. That fully resonates. I have one more kind of pandemic sort of era question, a little maybe less heavy. Some people.
That was pretty heavy.
Maybe, yeah. No, it's profound. It's been a profound time. Some people during the pandemic, they baked banana bread. People, I don't know. I know people who started jump roping or gardening or just taking up all sorts of different hobbies, creative pursuits, doing, some things to break up their day a little bit. Do you have anything like this, like that? Whether it's just sort of like a fun little relief from all of these just amazing work that you do, just something silly, something for yourself, something creative that maybe you took up at this time?
Well, I'll tell you what, I definitely read more than I have in the last 10 years. So I've read more books in the last 2 than I have collectively over the last 10. Fun, creative. I just wanted to make sure that I was in a position to continue my own healing process. So at one point, I left the US and I moved into isolation to Mexico, and I swam in the ocean every day and I ran every day. And then I came back and I was caretaking for my family. My father is recovering from radiation treatments from prostate cancer. He's good.
Good.
We're a year away from the test. He's feeling much better.
Good.
And then I moved to Hawaii for 2 months.
Wow.
And I did the same thing. I swam in the ocean every day. I ran. And again, because it's hard to trust people, I needed to be someplace where I knew that the earth was going to provide the healing energies I needed on top of the books that I was reading, the certifications that I was getting. So I'm a huge advocate for the somatic approach to healing. What can your body physically do? And even if it's child's pose in yoga or victory pose in yoga, you're still doing yoga, my friend. If you're sitting in a chair, you're still doing yoga. So I made sure that I found a way to move every day. And I did it in a way that was going to satisfy me. And in Mexico, I was swimming. I got stung by schools of jellyfish and was like, this is awesome. And then I moved to Hawaii and I was swimming with the sea turtles in Maui and was like, this is awesome. It was all awesome. Yeah. So my fun, creative approach to healing over the last year has been to get out of the US. But with that said, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be available, and I'm happy to be in New York on October 1st.
Amazing, amazing. Just a few more questions for you. So I don't know about you, I'm a big music person. So I've been asking presenters, imagine if you had the power to, when you walked into a room, you had sort of like your theme music, if your baseball players get their walk-up music, what's Ceasar's theme music at walking into a room to announce himself?
I love this. I love this because I've been asked this before, and my friends have all guessed, yo, you're either going to walk up to Jay-Z and Eminem's Renegade, or it's going to be some like healing frequencies to the heart channel, like, and everything in between. So I can imagine if someone out there wants to DJ for me and mix Jay-Z and Eminem's Renegade to like the sound of tympanic bowls and gongs, I would love that.
That's a fun creative challenge for somebody out there. Yeah, I love it. Let's see. So this is a question just for you. When you go on your website, kind of the first thing that you notice, you have a lot of tattoos, my friend. You have a lot going on. Really? Yeah. So I'm very curious about people's tattoos. So I'm wondering if you might share with us I'm sure they all have some significance and special meaning, but if there's one sort of story behind the tattoo that you might be game to share with us.
I will share this.
Okay.
And this is coming off the heels yesterday. I was standing over there off of like 60th and Park Ave. And I was on my phone texting, and someone approached me, and immediately my senses and activations went up. And he was just like, yo, I love your tats, because I was in a tank top. And we had a 5-minute conversation. And so what I said to him is what I'm going to share with you. Okay. There are 29 years of history here. And so from the very first one to my most recent, and each one tells a different story from a different chapter in my life. Yeah. And so they're all significant. And the idea of being in a place where someone may ask about that one and there's a story, or about that one, there's a story, or about this one and there's a story. So with that said, there are far too many stories for us to share here. But if you have any specific questions about any of them, holla at your man. Let me know what's up. I'll be happy to answer it. Because I have people ask all the time. They're like, hey, what does that one mean? And I'll just tell them.
Well, maybe, if people come to your class during SOULFest, that's a perfect opportunity. Pick out a tat, ask the story.
Yes,
Here we go.
We will take time for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, Ceasar, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Yes, such a treat. And we'll see you at SOULFest. We'll see you in New York. Thanks so much.
Can't wait. Thank you.
Bye.